Right. Good evening, everyone. This is Balagopal here, and I manage the sales for S28. And today's webinar would be presented by Soumya Shivshankar, who heads the practice for Optim in S28. She's been with S28 for about 6 years, and she's got over 12 years of experience in the IT industry. So just a little bit of, I'll rather set the agenda straight first. Right, so to go about with the agenda, first I would brief you about S28. And Soumya will walk through what is data growth, what is IBM Optim all about, and how IBM Optim works for data archival, and what are the benefits of using IBM Optim. So before that, probably a little bit of housekeeping. So we have Q&A sessions at the fag end of the presentation or the webinar. So any question that you would have, please you can put it in the Q&A segment of the webinar that you can raise, and we'll take up these questions post the session. And this session would be recorded, and we'll actually share this the recording post the session to all the attendees. A little bit about S28. S28 is a 12-year-old company headquartered out of the Silicon Valley in US. We have got offices in Canada, UK, UAE, and India. So we are actually focused on 4 practice areas. One of them is with product and customer engineering. The second one is data and analytics. That's where we have a core focus on IBM's Optim. We are also into subscription billing and revenue management, and then the governance, risk, and compliance. We are very focused on 4 verticals, which, as you can see, is healthcare and pharma is one, financial services another one, retail and e-commerce, and the software ISV. So we cut across these 4 verticals using the 4 practice areas that we have. And we believe in the 4 Ps, which includes the processes, the people, the price, and the performance, using which we actually have been quite successful in retaining our customers year on to year, and most of our customers are through referrals itself. So just going next would be about IBM Optim, or rather about data growth, which I would actually get Soumya to take it over from here. Soumya, over to you.
Thank you, Gopal. So, hello everyone. First of all, I would like to welcome everyone to this webinar. Today, I'm going to give you a brief about one of the major IT challenges called as data growth and its consequences, and how IBM Tools is going to address this challenge. Today's agenda is to know what data growth is, what is and how Optim archival solution works, and the benefits of Optim data growth solution. Now, let me explain what data growth and how organizations face challenges due to rapid data growth in their production environment. Data growth is a process wherein data is in the database grows rapidly on day-on-day basis because of various transactions. It is important for any organizations to manage their data in an effective way. Today, organizations who fail to manage their data effectively are facing many challenges with their mission-critical applications. Some of the challenges are application performance degradation, increase in storage space, which in turn increases maintenance cost, and also it consumes more time during the application upgradation, applying patches, or cloning the environment. Organizations can overcome these challenges by the best solution, that's the data archival. Now let me explain you what is data archival and what are its benefits. Data archival is an intelligent process of segregating inactive historical data from production environment into a cheaper storage devices by maintaining the data referential integrity and also providing future access to the archived data. Data archiving solution can help to resolve the major issues which we discussed in the previous slides. By archiving the inactive historical data, we can achieve the optimized performance in the application side. By doing this, business can meet the service level agreement consistently, and it can accelerate delivery for revenue generating applications as well. Even though the inactive data is archived, Still, the business users can accurately respond to the audit and e-discovery requests as well. And by archiving solutions, we can achieve reduction in infrastructure costs and also storage costs. These archived data can be stored in cheaper storage devices like SAM, NAS, optical disks, tapes, etc. Moving on. Now let us understand how data archiving is going to help the business. Let's consider a small production database with a large amount of data of both active and inactive data. When we perform data archival for the inactive data, we can load the inactive data into the archived database. These archived data can be loaded back to production when required, either entirely or a subset of archived database. We can also access data directly from the application or from the reporting tools. Here comes the market leader product with data archival solution for data growth challenge, which is IBM Optim. Let me brief you about IBM Optim solution. Organizations can leverage IBM Optim tool to address IT challenge like data growth, for which the solution is provided by Optim, which is the core topic for today's discussion. Along with data growth solution, Optim also provides solutions like test data management, where it provides realistic subset of data or quality testing results. Optim also provides data privacy solution where it meets the PCI, PII compliance, where it manages the sensitive and confidential information like credit card numbers, the customer's details, and the other PII information by masking them. Optim also has a retiring solution which is called as the decommissioning solution, wherein it provides retiring for the legacy systems. Now let us understand the importance of archiving data and why archiving data is better than backup. You might have a question that we do have a practice of taking backup, so why should we go for archiving? Backup and archival are different entities and their approaches will be different. Now let us understand how archiving is different from backup. Backup keeps everything as cloned copy of original system. It includes all its components like versions, interface changes, and the customization changes. Whereas the data archiving, we only keep what is required, mostly for future use like the audit request or the e-discovery request. It is a self-contained data overall. Even though it is a subset of the data from the production and we archive it, the archive takes care of all the referential integrity. And also the archive data is available as and when the business needs it. In backup approach, it copies everything. It will be a complete data model and it will have dependencies on IT teams like system admins, database admins, etc. Whereas data archival, only the data model for the business objects is required. As backup will include complete data of day-to-day business, data present in data backup might not be useful. And if any requirement of loading the data back into the production is requested, it becomes very expensive. But whereas archival, it can be loaded very easily back to the production. Now let us take a look at the enterprise architecture of Optim. This slide mainly talks about Optim's compatibility with different operating systems, databases, storages, and servers and applications. Optim is compatible with operating systems like Windows, Solaris, Linux, AIX, etc. Once Optim performs archival data, it can store archived data in the cheap devices like SAN, NAS, ATA, etc. Optim supports all market-leading database softwares like Oracle, SQL Server, Sybase, Informix, DB2, etc. Along with data growth, Optim also provides solutions for test data management, data privacy, application retirement. All these solutions are driven by single installation, which is used for data management across environments. Optim can implement its solution across the enterprise applications, packaged applications, and even custom developed applications. S2S has an out-of-box solution for all Oracle applications such as eBusiness, PeopleSoft, JD Edwards, Siebel, etc. We do develop archival solutions for test data management solutions and also masking for customized developed applications, packaged applications, and enterprise applications as well. Thus, IBM Optim tool is in a total integrated modular environment to manage all the application data requirements to retirement across heterogeneous environments. So let's move on. This slide mainly depicts on the real-time implementation of Optim. Optim deals with client-server architecture. The Optim client is installed and configured in the workstation where archival request is triggered, and Optim server takes care of purging the historical or inactive data from different databases. Once the data is archived, by default, Optim saves the data in the compressed immutable binary file. And that file, we call it as archive file. Based on the requirement, we can load the archive data into multiple non-production databases as well. Optim has another feature which is called as the access for the archive data by directly connecting to the archive files. We can also access data from any application or reporting tools like the business objects, crystal reports, or Cognos. The archive data from the archive files can also be loaded into the desktop file formats like MS Excel, SQL, XML documents, etc. This slide will take you through how archival is done through automating the archival process and moving the archive data from the production tier to the multi-storage tier storage. As a best practice, we keep current and the previous year's data in database in production itself, and the rest of the data, it will be an ideal data for archival. Once data is archived, we can keep that data for 3 or 4 years in tier 2 level storage devices. Once the data meets the 4 to 6 year criteria, we can move the archived data from 2 to 3 storage devices like Centera IBM RS500 as a standard method of archival. Once the data expires, about 7 years is a good time for a good time candidate for final purging. Before purging, we can retain access to the data for 2 to 3 years in an offline storage device like Optim Disk or tapes. Optim keeps the files in a compressed file format, and the compression rate could range somewhere between 70% to 90%. Now let us look into a real-time business scenario for implementing data archival solution. Let us assume we have multiple production systems. One with a CRM application, which is a Unix environment with an Oracle database. Second one being a financial related data with the order entry in the ZOS environment with DB2 database. And last could be an accounting entry in a Linux environment with again another DB2 database. Now let us apply the data archival solution in this heterogeneous environment. Consider archival for a particular customer present in the CRM system and its related transactional data present in the rest of the two systems. Optim will be capable of copying the reference data from the CRM applications and its relative inactive transaction data from the two databases by maintaining referential integrity. And after archival, we can create a common access for the archived data and thus help in meeting the service level agreements for the archived data and also help in moving the archived data into the other storage devices. Moving to the next slide. This slide talks about how Optim is going to meet the complete business object for a subset of data. When we plan for our data archival as solution experts, we will think in different user perspectives. For example, in case of a DBA, if the data present in the table are referentially intact or not. In case of a business, we check whether the historical referential integrity is maintained for the historical transaction data. Similarly, the data might be present spread across multiple databases like we see in the picture as Oracle, DB2, Sybase, etc. So, while archiving, to create the data model, we check if Optim is capable of accessing the heterogeneous data. Optim also checks if there are any file attachments in the server-side file system. If it exists, Optim also takes care of the unstructured data, which is the file systems residing at your file server. And these could be any of your pictures or your PDFs, etc. Moving ahead, now let me explain an interesting topic about data growth here, which is the universal access. Optim provides a feature to access the archived data in two ways: native application access, application independent access. In native application access, Optim allows end user to view both production and archived data from their native screens by restoring the archived data into the archived database. In application independent access, Optim allows the end users to query the archived data directly from the archived files using the standard method like SQL, ODBC, or DDBC. It also proves that the facility of the access that the archived data through reporting tool is also possible for various reporting tools, which is primarily, which could be the Crystal Report or Cognos or Business Objects. And thus, Optim provides universal access to the archived data anytime, anywhere by the authenticated user. Now, let me illustrate a scenario wherein we can see how the storage footprint is before archival and after archival. The production environment has 500 GB of data. Considering around 5 different non-production environments used by the organization for different business purposes, it could be for training, unit testing, system tests, etc., then the same 500 GB needs to be copied across taken a clone from the production and needs to be copied across all the other non-production systems. So the overall cost of the storage would be around 3 TB in this particular example. Now, if we implement data archival solution on the production environment and remove out all the historic and inactive data, so we can consider around 200 GB of data still residing in active data residing in production. Now, this data can be cloned and moved across the remaining non-production systems. So now we could see that the total storage reduction is about 60% and the whole entire TB is reduced to 1.2 TB. Let's move on to the advantages of data archiving. By leveraging Optim data archival solution, organizations can improve the performance of their mission-critical application and thus meet the service level agreement. It will control the storage cost by archiving the data. which in turn helps us reduce the maintenance burden. Time taken for cloning, upgrades, applying patches, etc. will be reduced. We can access the archive data easily for any of the audits or e-delivery requests. This slide represents the Optim user interface for browsing the archive data using Browse Utility. This is another beautiful feature provided by Optim, wherein the data can be used using the Browse Utility of what kind of data has been archived without even going into the opening the archive files through any of the reporting tools. This access could be with the admins, the Optim admins. As you see here, many customers are getting extreme service from S2A. These customers are getting benefit from Optim solution, which are different domains like financial domains, insurance, telecom, industry, chemical industry, etc. So with this, I would like to thank you all for attending this webinar, and now we are open for questions.
Thank you so much, Soumya. Any questions, you probably can put it in the Q&A box. And I think Soumya would be able to help you out on that. Right, Soumya, I think we have a question here from one attendant. Once archived, can you restore only a selective set of data back or a wrongly archived data back to the production?
Definitely. So probably I'll take this as a two set of questions. So one is if I can do a selective restore. Definitely I can do a selective restore. When I say selective restore, I could give you an example of a campus solution wherein a student would be studying would have taken up a course 4 to 5 years back, and it's been archived out. Now the same student is back, and instead of re-entering the entire data of the student, what I could do is I could do a selective of this particular student and get only his data back. So that could be a selective restore. And yes, if we have done incorrect archival, so there are multiple options with Optim. So what you could do is you could just do an extract during your archival process, which will tell you what is your data you're going to get extracted during your archival. So that data you can feed it onto your SMEs, get it validated, and in case they say that yes, this set of data is good, then you can proceed ahead with deleting out the data from the production. So before confirming it out, there is an option wherein you could get confirmed and then only purge the data in production.
Thank you, Soumya. So the next question is, can you archive from an Oracle DB and restore to an MS SQL or vice versa? Or do you support others Optim support scenarios like this?
If at all if the database structure is same, yes, we could do that, but then there would be challenges because they're two different databases. But as a best practice, we would always want to archive and restore it into the similar database, but then this option is also available, but yes, it has its own challenges.
I think that answers the question. I think one more question is coming up. Does Optim need any middleware?
No, it does not. It does not need anything.
All right. So any more questions? I don't see any further questions. Right, there's one. Selective restore is possible for Oracle EBIS as well.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is, and it's based on the requirements. See, out-of-the-box solution provides a certain set of selective restore, but then based on the customer's requirement, we could still develop the requirement for the selective restore. So definitely, it is a feature with Optim, and that could be applicable across any application for that matter.
Ahmed, I hope that answers your questions. Any other further questions? I don't see any further questions. We'll wait for a minute more. If anyone else has got. Is core HR supported in Oracle EBIS?
Yes, it is. And we do have an out-of-box solution for core HR in Oracle EBIS.
Right. Any further questions? Right. So Ahmed, probably, yeah, we can take it offline where probably I can address that requirement of yours. We can certainly help you out with the core HR, Oracle for core HR, the Optim for Oracle core HR.
This feature is already present, so I think we can provide you the details for the core HR too. Definitely, we do have the core HR piece.
So I think that's about the set of questions that we have right now. And thank you all for attending. As mentioned, we will be sending out the links of the recorded webinar for probably by tomorrow to all the attendees. Thank you so much.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Yeah, sure. We'll share the slides as well. Thank you so much.